Hi guys, it's Ashley or Ashy Cutie, and I can't keep real plants slash flowers alive, so let's make some fake ones. So in this video, I am making faux flower versions of my Deity Blooms, the flower I created to be like a symbol or to represent my fantasy universe gods. It took me a while to complete this project, and then I had other videos that I had wanted to post that took priority, and I realized it would be perfect to post this video on the first day of spring, so that's why you're seeing it now. To start, I had to do some surgery on the silk lilies that I bought from Dollar Tree. I think a lot of the material I used, if it wasn't something I already had, it was from Dollar Tree, I think. So the lilies were 6 petaled and my blooms only have 5 petals, so I had to cut off one of the petals. And then they also had like this skeleton on the outside to hold their shape, and I ended up having to partially cut that away to open up the flowers more. I also cut down the petals to just be more like shorter and like come to more of a point. So here is the open flower, and then the post-surgery stage, and then after I trim down the petals. For the star-shaped middles, I just used some air-dry clay, which I then spray painted, and then I think I used some acrylic paint on them after that. And I drilled holes in the middle of these stars so I could like insert the stamen and the stem, because that's where how the fake flowers are held together. So my bunch of flowers came with 6 flowers, and I ended up modding 5 of them to be the open flower. For some like variety, I ended up using the last one as well as some of the extra petals from the other flowers to make like a closed up like bud. I stuffed some cotton in the middle of the petals and then glued it down and closed, and then like glued the extra petals around the middle. The last modification I made was painting the middle of the petals with some acrylic paint for some color dimension, and I added like speckles and stuff. Now that we have some flowers, we're going to need a pot to put them in, right? I used a terracotta pot that I had once used for a real plant. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably a little odd that I decorated the pot with the flowers that are in the pot, but whatever. Anyway, I mapped it out. I ended up putting 6 flowers evenly around the rim, like with the card binder I painted a little while ago. Paint pens were the real hero here. I used them to lay out the design, and then I like used acrylic paint to like fill out the actual design. So the design I concepted had like rainbow trim or like a rainbow border. So I used washi tape to like try and block this out. I think for the flower design and the other detailing I used mostly like paint pens and Posca pens. This was pretty challenging to do, a repeating design, but I think it turned out pretty well. Obviously it's hand painted, so it's not like totally identical and symmetrical, but I think I did a pretty good job, and I've never really done something like this, so yeah. In all honesty, I think this is a really unique project. Once again, I think I say that sometimes for my other projects, but I think this specifically was a really unique project, like bringing my fake flower to life, sort of, in a way. I really love making up like plants and fake species and stuff. I have for a long time, and I think it's just really special to be able to make something I made up come to life, I guess. Alright, now that I have a pot for my flowers, we need some dirt for them to live in. I painted some peach, like tan felt that I had with some very watered down brown acrylic paint. I didn't have any brown, and I feel like this actually helped with some of the like depth and texture. I glued it to some cardboard, and then for like more dimension, I used brushed out brown yarn to like make some like 3D dirt. And I glued that to the edge so it looks like it's like pushing up on the sides of the pot. This part took some like engineering, so I did it off camera. I wanted the flowers to be removable, so I poked holes in my like soil layer, and I shoved pieces of cut up disposable straw that I had for some reason underneath the soil. For the flowers, I just wrapped them in some masking tape that I eventually painted green so that they'd look like a cut flower if it was removed and I wanted to use it for like a prop. To disguise the holes for the flowers, I used a little bit more of the brown yarn, and then to like blend it out I used the acrylic paint. Now with just the Deity Blooms in the pot, it was looking pretty empty. I wanted this to look like a plant that was, you know, well cared for, because like if it was like Mage Sona who had this potted plant, she would obviously care for it a lot, because these flowers are supposed to be like rare and they represent her gods. So part of the reason this project took me a while is because I ended up having to shop around for decorations for my like pot, but eventually I acquired some moss, which smelled absolutely rancid because I believe it's real moss, and some fake ferns, and I also bought like fake grass, but I didn't end up using it. For the moss, I just glued that to the soil, and then I used some various green brushed out yarn for some like texture variation. For the ferns, I just stabbed some holes into the soil layer and glued them down after I split the ferns in half and stuff. For some extra decorations, I used some stuff that I had in my stash, like rocks, sea glass, and beads. Oh, and I painted a little wooden mushie to hide in the back there, behind the ferns. So here's a look at the finished project, and of course I had to put it in my window. So I put it on top of my like organizer drawers that's on my craft desk, and I of course had to put my deity standee next to it. That is the two main gods that from my fantasy universe, and they are actually holding Deity Blooms. I created the Deity Blooms for that piece, so if you guys have not seen that video, please go check it out. I will link it in like the card or the end card. I think that was another really unique project that I did. And for a final touch, I used a large popsicle stick that I had from my craft stash, and I made one of those like little gardening label sticks. And I could not get my camera to focus on it for some reason, but I just like shoved it in between the pot and the soil layer, and I actually made it because if I need to get that layer out, then it will help me like pull it out, but it's also just a fun decoration, I guess. And that's it. I have a flower that will never die on me, and honestly I think it's a lot more special than a real flower or plant could be to me, so that's nice. This was a project that I came up with a while ago, and I'm just so happy with how it turned out, honestly. And I'm really happy to be able to share it with you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Especially if you have watched all the way to this point. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like my special flowers. I will see you in the next one, hopefully very soon. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.